But let's get into the next video, because the next video is going to touch on just exactly what you just mentioned. More people talking out.
What is a woman? Can you tell me that? Well, you're at the Women's March. You must have some idea. Please, if one person could tell me what a woman is.
You are not here for women. We ask you to leave.
What is that? I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4. I host a talk show. I give speeches. I write books. I like to make sense of things. A woman is not anything in particular.
There is not one particular thing.
It could be many things to many people.
Some women have penises, right? Some men have vaginas.
I like scented candles, and I've watched Sex and the City.
Yeah.
How do I know if I'm a woman?
That's a great question.
You're not a scientist. You're not a gender studies major.
No.
How do you know that you're a man?
I guess because I got a dick.
Can a man become a woman?
I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is? Do you want to tell us what a woman is?
I'm a biological woman that medically transitioned to appear like a male. I will never be a man.
And so they go on the internet and they're told that all of their problems will be solved if they become a man.
So you worry that there could be a sort of social contagion element of this?
A teeny tiny bit, maybe.
It got me at 42. Your child doesn't have a chance.
And you're affirming it with hormones that have never been used in this way.
Puberty blockers, which are completely reversible. Completely reversible.
One of the drugs used is Lupron, right? Which has actually been used to chemically castrate sex offenders.
You know what? I'm not sure that we should continue with this interview.
So you don't want to talk about the drugs that you give to kids, or?
How can they be removing the healthy breasts of 15-year-old girls?
There are masculine girls. There are feminine boys. What are we going to do about that? Carve them up?
How can this whole thing be happening, Matt?
I wanted us to have a safe place to be able to talk about this.
Part of me wants to ask why you care so much.
I care about the truth. I care about children. I care about the women who are having their opportunities stolen from them.
Is it transphobic to tell the truth?
The interview's over. Let's turn off the cameras.
Excuse me,
For their fair question, I just wanted to know, what is a woman?
and you're not going to find out.
Based on what I'm saying, would you ever want to move to America?
They say no, never.
I hope you enjoyed it a little bit.
We'll see when it comes out.
What were your thoughts on that?
It's so good. That is the documentary for me personally of my era, because I think it defines the divide. There's so many battles going on in our country about disagreements over this and that. And I always break it down. If we can't agree on what a woman is, then there's nothing else that we can fundamentally. You can't stay in a marriage if you and your wife don't agree on what a woman is. I don't see how you could possibly stay in that marriage in a productive manner. And that's what I see there. Matt Walsh is so good. I've seen that. And if you have not seen that, I highly recommend it.
No, I haven't seen it, but I definitely want to. On top of that, and a couple of others, with a BLM one from Candace Owens is another one that I want to watch. But here are the 3 things that I took away from this. Number 1, one of the doctors admits that there could be a social component to this movement, which is what Bill Maher was saying, how it's trendy, right? She's echoing what he said. The second thing, did you notice how the doctors wanted to stop the interview once he started to mention the specific drug that's being used?
Yep. Yeah, got real serious about it too. Like, no, let's stop this. Stop.
Oh. And then the cavalier attitude of this being reversible. I mean, let's say, I don't know if it is, I don't know the extent of it. I really don't know. But I can imagine it is emotionally and physically traumatic for those people that realize, oh crap, I made a mistake.
Yeah, how do you can't, I think, I'm not going to say anything scientific or medical advice or anything like that, but to me, I don't see how it's possible to undo something like that. Just from a traumatic standpoint, psychological standpoint, not even just the physical, I don't see how that's possible. And I think another part that stood out to me was I think someone asked Matt Walsh, why do you care about this, or something to that effect?
Yeah.
And he's like, I care about the truth. We have to care about the truth, man, or we are going to let somebody else define the truth for us. And people give me feedback too, like, well, why do you care so much? Well, if they can find the truth about something as simple as what a man or a woman is, then what can't they define the truth for? Everything.
But here's the thing, it's not defining, they're redefining, because we already knew what a woman was. They changed what at least in their eyes, to me, they haven't changed squat, and they're not going to. You can make whatever law, you could put in whatever policy you want. To me, I know exactly what a woman is. And what these people are doing, they're pretending to be a woman. These men that are converted to women, they're pretending. They're not women. I'm sorry. Your chromosomes say otherwise. You can have all the plastic surgery you want. Guess what? You can't change your DNA.
Yeah, and what you said there is so powerful, because you're right. It's not like they brought something new that we've never seen before and then defined it. That would be easier. They've reprogrammed, is it 50% of society, or 50% of society is either apathetic? I'm just guessing. I think at least 50% of our country is either apathetic to this discussion or agrees with the redefinition. How do you reprogram a whole country?
No, and goes back to a video that you and I did. You used, and I'm quoting you, weasel words, right? When they don't come out and directly tell you things, but they switch things. And we've talked about it before. Remember before, illegal aliens, now they're undocumented, right? Pedophiles, no, now it's maps.
Yep.
You see, they redefine it. So by redefining it, they play a psychological game where it now becomes, it's not as bad now. It's tolerable. It's not, the impact isn't so negative. Now you're more accepting of it, right?
It's just brilliant, man. They do it with so many terms.
Deception. Remember that? Deception. That's the key thing. Now I want to go back on that cavalier attitude of reversibility. We've touched on some people that have detransitioned before, but this young girl, I want you to hear just a quick intro into her story.
I am Helena. I'm 23 years old. When I was about 15, I started using Tumblr. I had an eating disorder since I was pretty young. There's a lot of messages that said, if you feel bad about your body, that means you're trans. I was just going through this period of like, I don't like how I'm treated as a cis person. I don't want to be cis because cis means you're uncool and you're privileged and you're an oppressor and you're bad, and I don't want to be that. In that way, I was really incentivized to try to figure out a way to make my voice heard in these communities. And obviously, I can't change my race. I can't really change my sexuality. So the only thing left was to start playing around with the gender stuff. So I decided to call myself a demi-girl, which is one of the 40 million genders. And that basically means that I'm mostly a girl, but I'm a little bit not a girl, which is just like, what does that even mean? And then after that, I went to demi-boy. And then after that, I went to gender fluid. And after that, I eventually went to trans boy. But all this took like 2 or 3 years of just going through this repetitive cycle of changing this identity and changing it again. And it was just never enough. There was a lot of hopelessness for a long time, a lot of regret. The feeling of regret was intense.
What did you think about that?
I think we talked about what is the motivation sometimes? And to me, you look at her, looks like a beautiful young lady. And I think that there's something to this being not a rebellion against the parents or authority necessarily. I don't know her parents. But to me, it feels like a rebellion against truth through beauty and basically beauty as prescribed by Western culture. So Western culture, she said cis equals oppressor now. She used a word oppressor. What does that have to do with if you feel like a boy or a girl? That should have nothing to do with that. It went from basically white people are oppressors to now cis people are oppressors. How do you rebel against that? That basically they mean cis, they mean straight people who believe in the Constitution, Western culture, Christians. How do you rebel against that? You turn yourself, I hate to say it, but ugly, because God made you beautiful. You turned yourself ugly, and now you're rebelling against that whole system. But it's never enough because it was never about you. That's why it was never enough. That's just my opinion.
Yep. Here are some of the points that I captured off it. When did it start? 15, she said, right? It got her at 15. Why? Because Bill Maher pointed to it. Their children are impressionable. So when you start young, you get it. When you start really young, it's normal. When you start at that level, it's confusion. That's the other thing that I picked up. She went from cis girl to cis boy to I don't know what else, gender fluid. She went through a number of different things. That to me is confusion. I don't know how else to explain it. But if you think about it, who's the master of confusion? Who did I touch on does all these things? You see where I'm coming with?
Yep.
Satan, right?
Yep.
So again, we're pointing back to it because God doesn't create confusion. God is mysterious in his ways, but he doesn't create confusion. It's very clear what he wants, what the desire is, and it's to have a relationship with us. So the other thing, that confusion led to manipulation. Wanted to be cool, right? She said it, right? So again, going back to Bill, it's trendy, right? Everything that these last two videos that they highlighted, she encapsulated it right there in her own testimony.
Yep.
Here's the scary part. When you go down to the child level, child are extremely impressionable. Children, you tell them Santa Claus, they believe in it wholeheartedly, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So if you show them this type of stuff, it's normal. What do they think? It's normal. Hence why they're coming after your children, right? So here's my concern. It is children. Again, we're not talking about adults. You have it embedded now fervently in cartoons. Here's a clip from Mark Dice. He exposes this, and I'll get into my own personal discussion.
Guys can't let your kids watch Disney Plus, Nickelodeon, or any shows on Netflix without vetting them first, because they're going to indoctrinate them any way they can by covertly inserting LGBT propaganda like this in Coco Melon Lane, which is the most popular show on Netflix for toddlers, where in a recent episode they feature a baby boy who's indoctrinated into wearing a tutu and then dancing around to entertain his two gay, quote, dads. Or this show, Ada Twist Scientist, also on Netflix, which is produced literally by the Obamas, because they have a production studio to create Marxist propaganda, where the girl scientist, which is supposed to introduce children to the wonders of science, has an entire episode where the kids celebrate one of their teachers marrying another man.
This is Cherry Chet reporting from the wedding of the year. Everyone's favorite karate instructor, Sensei Dave, will be marrying mixed martial arts champion Jiu-Jitsu Joe.
He's the undisputed champion of my heart.
Good hustle, team.
So that's Netflix these days. I'm not even going to show the Disney Plus LGBT drag queen extravaganza or the Blues Clues LGBT drag queen Pride Festival sing-along where they're singing about how amazing gender non-binary people are, because we've already seen enough.
Thoughts?
Man, my thoughts are, where does this slope stop? Now we know the slope's slippery. I think that's debate's over. We're free falling down the slope and my kids watched Coco Melon on YouTube. I didn't see any of that. But when they were younger, they watched Coco Melon, not on Netflix, but the YouTube stuff where they just sing, the little nursery rhyme songs. That is just shocking to see a toddler boy dressed in a tutu dancing for his...
Don't forget the tiara. Don't forget the tiara.
The tiara. just straight confusion of young people, and what they're doing is taking advantage of parents putting their kids right in front of when they were that young, I was watching it with them. It wasn't but you can put your kids right in front of the TV or right in front of the tablet, watch YouTube, just video after video. Oh, and look, on Netflix, you think it's safe. If they really wanted to do something like that, they could splice it out and say, well, this is the LGBTQ section. If you don't want any of that, uncheck this. To my knowledge, they don't have that. So they want you to see it. They want to force feed it to you. For me, that crosses a boundary. I don't want a show that says, that tries to convert gay people straight. I don't want that. I just want the boundary to be set. I have no problem with that, actually, that show. Make sure you have a boundary set that I have the option to say I don't want none of that for my kids. And then I'd be fine. But you know why they would never do that? There's no demand for it. It wouldn't exist if they didn't force feed it to us.
Correct. They would actually, you're absolutely right on that. Here's my personal story. My daughter absolutely loves Cocomelon. My nephew watched it, and I guess when she stayed over at my mom's house at one point, she saw it, she loved it. She watches that, like, she's obsessed with Cocomelon. Her first birthday party was a Cocomelon theme, and I'll tell you a funny story. Sometimes she'll wake up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she'll just go, Coco, and then she'll go right back to sleep. So she's dreaming about it. Mm-hmm. And it's the cutest thing. So, but here's the funny part. So the ones on YouTube, so here's the difference. The regular Cocomelon is your traditional stuff. Mm-hmm. This new stuff is called Cocomelon Lane. That's the stuff that has this stuff in there. So when you go to Netflix, you have the regular Cocomelon, which you're fine. Same thing on YouTube. And the Cocomelon Lane now has the two dads with the princess boy. So it's on YouTube. I've seen it on YouTube. So I've been watching it with my daughter too. When I saw this, it made me aware, because we came across Cocomelon. We're like, oh, cool, new episodes. And we put it on, but it hadn't gotten to that episode yet. And the same day that Mark releases this is the same day that we're seeing it. So my wife goes, babe, let me show you something. Take a look at this. And we saw, it wasn't this particular episode, but it was them having breakfast. And there was some suggestion there that you could interpret. They were like, are they going this route? And I told my wife, I said, it's there, but it's not in your face, right? It's subtle. So I said, let's watch another episode. And then we saw this one. And then we're like, nope, can't watch that anymore. So when Mark Dice came out with his video, then I was able to deduce and see, okay, Cocomelon regular's fine, Cocomelon Lane is not fine, right? Not for my family.
Well, then maybe that does meet my requirements, though. I mean...
But they don't tell you that. You don't know that. You gotta find that on your own.
They don't tell you that... What? Yeah, see, I don't like that. They should be over... If you're proud about it, be proud about it and say this is Cocomelon Lane. And do they have the rainbow? Do they, the rainbow now is they've taken the rainbow.
You're forgetting the agenda. The agenda, right?
Remember quietly.
Quietly.
Yeah, we're going quietly.
Yeah, that's the agenda, right? It's not, and it's not just Cocomelon. My daughter also, like, I was watching, I like 3D animation. I do it. You're wearing my shirt. Cool shirt, by the way.
Let's go. Cool shirt. Brad Animations.
So I've been watching on Netflix the Jurassic Park. They got 3D animated Jurassic Park. It's called Jurassic Park Camp Cretaceous. My daughter seems to like it. She likes the dinosaurs. She finds it fascinating. So she'll when she's tired of watching Cocomelon, she'll growl, and that'll tell me that she wants to watch the dinosaurs, right? So there's 5 seasons. We watched all 4 seasons. We get to the 5th season, and I'm watching it with her. By the 4th episode, if I'm not mistaken, there's a moment where 2 girls, they're like, hey, you go this way, I go that way. Okay, cool. When they turn around, one of the girls puts a certain look on her face, and I, as an animator, I kind of know what that means. And I'm like, no, don't tell me they're going this route. Next episode, sure enough, I got feelings for her.
I'll miss you. Oh, not if I miss you first. I've had crushes on boys before, so I know what that's like.
feel that way about Sammy. I'm gonna tell Sammy how I feel.
Yes! Oh, I'm so happy for you! How? When?
No idea. I'll do it when the time is right, you know? The truth is, Sammy, I've fallen for you. Like, hard. Real hard. Bed is standing right there. I can't wait another minute to tell you how I feel. It has to be now.
What has to be now?
Sammy, I like you. Like, a lot. Like, a lot. And I know. I heard you earlier. I just wanted to hear you say it again because I've been wanting to hear you say that since I don't even know when.
Oh, I told my wife we're done watching Netflix or Jurassic Park. She's not going to watch that. Guess what? I told my father-in-law, guess what? She's only going to watch the first 4 seasons. That's it.
Wow.
Heck, even
On
Transformers.
Jurassic Park.
Yes, even Transformers. The Transformers, they have a new cartoon called Earthspark where they've introduced their new first non-binary character. And he talks about how what a wonderful feeling it is to be non-binary.
Transformers, the classic cartoon beloved by every kid in the 1980s, along with the mandatory collectible Transformer toys, has recently gone through a rebrand, and now they're the transgenders. Paramount Plus, the streaming service run by Paramount Pictures, has a computer-generated Transformers series called Transformers Earthspeak that introduced a gender non-binary Transformer and a gender non-binary carbon-based life form, a human, this person, who, of course, has blue hair in order to send out a bat signal to other gender benders that is how they identify. This is the character Nightshade.
My pronouns are they, them.
Thanks. I'm Sam. I'm she, they, but you already know that.
Of course we do. Your blue hair is a dead giveaway, along with your rainbow purse and your pronoun pin.
Wow. What an amazing city.
I'm sorry for how I reacted. It's just, sometimes the world can be a scary place.
It is scary. All they wanted was the right to get married, they said, but now look what they're doing to the children.
It's hard to know who's dangerous or not.
Not really. It's the adults who want to talk to you about your gender and sexuality. Stay away from them.
That's true, though disappointing.
Hey, it's okay. I know I'm safe when I'm with my friends or other non-binary people.
Non-binary?
People who aren't female or male. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have assumed.
I always knew my pronouns felt right, but what a wonderful word for a wonderful experience.
What a wonderful experience Transformers is teaching the children to be confused about whether or not they're a boy or a girl. This is classic cultural Marxism.
A robot?
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't even have to make sense, man.
A
non-binary robot. That doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It literally doesn't. But the agenda is to force feed this stuff, and what's happening, it's costing them money, specifically when it comes to the movies, right? So, for example, Disney. Disney's been real focused. In my opening monologue, those were Disney films that I was talking about. Disney's been hyper-focused on this, and they've been losing money. In 2023, this is by a leftist article. Let me bring it up. This is by a leftist article. So Disney's, and this is, well, no, actually this one's from Fox, but there's another one that we can point to. Disney, oh, you can't see it yet. Here we go. This one's from Fox. Disney loses spot as Hollywood's top grossing studio in 2023. So that means they got beat out by Universal Studios as far as how much money they brought in. Okay, now they brought in 4.83 billion compared to 4.9 billion, right? They're still in the billions game, but they definitely took a loss. Now, this billions, I would imagine, is global entertainment, right? When it comes to the actual box office, here's the article that is coming from Reddit, which is pretty left-leaning.
Mm-hmm.
So they lost money. They've lost $1.3 billion theatrically in 2023. That's not good for investors. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's not only the LGBTQ agenda, it's the toxic femininity, making every woman stronger, better than men, degrading men, which is the primary consumer of comic book superhero type movies. Like, you imagine taking Barbie, butching her up, calling her G.I. Joe. Do you think that the fanatics that follow Barbie, all the women, you think they're going to like that? Of course not. So why do they do it to us? But here they are, and it's costing them money.
Yeah, it's just a business should exist. To me, it shows that their business exists for something other than maximizing profit and revenue, which is a scary thing for a business to exist. And then it makes me wonder, what is the other purpose for your business? And because what it does is, I don't trust Disney anymore. They might release a movie. The last Disney movie that I really enjoyed that I can think of, maybe Inside Out came afterwards, but Frozen. Inside Out I thought was all right. Frozen 1, Frozen 2, I thought they were superb. I thought they were excellent movies. But now, even if they came out with another movie as good as Frozen, I probably wouldn't know unless a lot of people told me about it, because I don't trust anything they release now. So they're destroying everything that they've worked for. And what's the purpose? It's just propaganda? I mean, is that the overt purpose here?
They're destroying the legacy of Walt Disney. The guy's got to be rolling on his grave. He's one of the people that I've always would like. If they have those questions, those icebreaker questions. Who would you like to meet? A famous person, Walt Disney, right? And I always wanted to dream. As a matter of fact, in 2008, my kid's mother took me to Disney. They had their animation studio there, in hopes to see if I can get a contact, maybe start working over there. And it was a dream to work there, or ILM, right? And now I look at it and I wouldn't want to, like, even if they paid me double my salary, I wouldn't want to work there, right? But here's the interesting thing that you just mentioned about not wanting to watch any more of the video. Look at Wish right here. Oh, crud. Oh, that blew up perfect. Wish down here, second to last. Negative $235 million loss. Now, I didn't see the movie. I haven't seen hardly any. I haven't seen any of these films, actually. But and the reason I haven't is because I have a boycott of this stuff. But based on the commercials, I didn't really see anything woke in it, right? Mm-hmm. The only thing that I did see was, and here's where this may have come from, this loss, you have a girl who's a person of color, and that's not really the problem, but because of the times that we live in, it's a person of color, and the villain happens to be a white guy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a problem, man, because it just seems like it's every single movie now. I mean, I've seen a couple of those on there. Even Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The movie wasn't that bad. But Harrison Ford is supposed to be the lead, but he's not. It's a woman. I mean, she's really the hero. Harrison Ford is just the afterthought. And it's almost like, I'm okay with that sometimes, but every single time, I don't want to see it anymore. I don't even need to do an official boycott. Unless there's a big uprising of people saying, wow, this movie is great, I'm just not going to watch it.
I grew up in a time where men and women were equal, equal value, and both could hold their own, and both would help each other out. But we're not there. We've somehow gone to this extreme woke feminine side, the modern feminist, where it's, I got to degrade men, I got to humiliate men because I'm better than men, I can do everything better than men. Hey, Nikki Haley even said, hey, isn't she better because she can do it in heels? I think that was her opening slogan on her first commercial. So it's garbage, and it's everywhere. Look at the Marvels. Marvels is a good example. I saw the first Captain Marvel film, and I've always liked Captain Marvel in the comics. I liked her as Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers. So I was excited when they announced her film. They sandwiched it in between Infinity War and Endgame. And so I didn't really want to go see it because she started coming out as a toxic feminist, talking about she didn't want old white men to see her films, blah, 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 and all this female superiority garbage. So I'm like, I went to go see it just to watch the film. It made $1 billion, but it made $1 billion because it was sandwiched between the two biggest films, the most anticipated films of the entire MCU universe. And I've been saying this since then. If they do a sequel and it stands on itself, it's going to bomb. Here it is. They invested, the budget on this, from what I understand, was almost $300 million. Almost $300 million. The rule of thumb is you double your budget for covering, marketing expenses. That lost almost $260 million.
Yeah, and you could have predicted it too. It's almost like they're breaking off money to, like you said, hey, maybe at one time you would have loved to have worked for one of the studios, for them. It's almost like they're kind of breaking off people. Because why is the budget so high? There's no need. I just saw Godzilla -1. And their budget was way lower. The movie looked fine. You don't need to. And sometimes when they get the budget high, the CGI still doesn't look good. So I don't know what's going on with the budget and all that. I just need a good story. And you would think that they would trim down the budgets because people aren't going to movies as much in general. It's like they're breaking off people who pledge allegiance to the mission that's not making revenue.
Well,
whatever that mission is.
Their budget got high in that specific movie. I can't talk about the others, but in that specific case, they had a lot of reshoots that ballooned. That caused the budget to balloon. That was not the original budget. So they had a number of reshoots. They had a number of delays. I think the movie delayed for like almost 2 years. So a lot of that added onto there, which honestly I'm glad about, to be honest with you. I'll be a hater, whatever.